It took years to develop the most woke creature of the Democrat Party. A creature so woke and retarded that it believes in its core programming that men should have abortion rights. Weak, beta males who come into contact with this creature will suddenly have the urge to order fresh kale and complain about your diesel truck because Talarico was bred from the stem cells of the woke mind virus. He is the most deranged swamp creature ever created.
But there are shades of bad. And all you have to do is look at James Talarico to find out what they have in store. My goodness. This guy, who will be the next senator from Texas, he had like pretty good, they spent $30 million on this guy. He's a state representative. $30 million. Jasmine Crockett spent $6 million. He barely beat Jasmine Crockett, so he's kind of weak. But don't discount the propaganda machine, the election rigging machine, the amount of illegal votes in Texas, the fact that Texas has not taken the kind of steps that are absolutely required in order to clean as much of the voter rolls as possible and prevent illegal voting as possible. This is a scary time, and you can see the radicalism, the actual demonic, hedonistic, blasphemous radicalism of the left and what they intend on doing next. If we just are stupid enough, cucked enough, doomer enough, black-pilled enough to give them the chance. So I just want to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, to not vote for the guy that thinks God is non-binary. We'll start with this.
God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
Okay, so right away, lightning bolt from heaven. Lightning bolt from heaven. You ever read Genesis, bro? God maketh them man and woman. God made man in his own image. God madeth them two genders. Man was in the image of God. The pronouns that God uses in the Bible is the Almighty, capitalized, He, and Lord, along with Christ. No, God is not non-binary. Any child who has ever read the Bible knows this. My 2-year-old knows this. We were going through their little cute Bible books. This is not Christian doctrine. I mean, just like the beginnings of this, just like the core of this all is not Christian doctrine. Transgenderism is a lie. Transgenderism is from the pit of hell. Because it is the core basis of our DNA, the way we are knit together by our Creator, under attack from the pits of hell. And this guy is not only the emissary of this, he's someone who's attacking the core tenets of Christianity and Christendom by attacking Christ himself. Here we go.
They teach you in Sunday school that Jesus Christ himself was a radical feminist.
Jesus Christ is a radical feminist. Be extremely cautious, and I try and I do my best to stay very salty on this, of people that take Christ and his universal teachings and try and bend them, horseshoe them into modern day political iconography and talking points. Those people are wolves in sheep's clothing. Feminist, as is of course Jesus loves women, and he loved Mary Magdalene. He loved his own mother. He was very kind and performed miracles for women all throughout the Bible. He treated them well. But to say that Christ is a feminist in the modern sense would be to say that Christ would be for instance, transing of 5-year-olds and abortion. That is what feminist ideology is distilled down to in the modern sense. And he says so. He says so here. that this is actually about perverting the scriptures into the slaughter of children. Here we go.
But I say all this in terms of, in context of abortion, because before God comes over Mary and we have the incarnation, God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do. And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent. You cannot force someone to create. Creation is one of the most sacred acts that we engage in as human beings, but that has to be done with consent. It has to be done with freedom. And to me, that is absolutely consistent with the ministry and life and death of Jesus.
Okay, I banish you, demon, from my show. I banish thee. I will travel to Texas. I'm traveling to Texas this month. I will go to Texas. I'll do anything to stop this demon from perverting my faith. To say that the slaughter, the wholesale slaughter of God's creation in the womb, which has led to 80 million deaths. How great would this country be with 80 million more Americans? I would love to have 80 million more Americans. I don't want tens of millions of criminal aliens foreign to this land and to this culture to wash upon our shores. It's been destructive to the extreme. It's changed the nation forever. I don't know if we'll ever get it back. I'm fighting as hard as I can. But if you had 80 million more Americans, if the evil of abortion, the darkness of abortion was foisted upon us, we wouldn't, first off, be in these, be suffering this, but also, what is the core tenets of what he's saying here? He's talking about consent. As though, it would have been permissible for Mary to turn down God. You're talking, yeah, I mean, he's taking a flaming sledgehammer to the pillars of Christendom, the basic pillars of Christendom. As though, God is sitting there to be scolded by us men. That we are the ones who are in control. That man made God, not the other way around. That Mary could have scolded God and said, I will not bear the Christ. Same thing with John the Baptist. Same thing with so many different stories, apostles, all the way through the Old Testament and back. That God's will doesn't matter, and that it's us who are in control of God. This is satanic. This is from the pits of hell. Satan was an archangel, very powerful, cast down Beelzebub into hell because he tried to fight God, because he wanted to be God. Adam cast out of the garden because he wanted to be God, because Adam did not consent to God's laws. That is where the downfall of man comes from. This is a perverse, absolute blackness, a black Sabbath on Christianity. Cannot express it enough. But then to also pervert the teachings, the consistency in the teachings and the clarity of Christ on the innocent children, to sit and to say that we must slaughter kids if they are inconvenient to us, when Christ himself says those who harm the hairs on these children, they'll be cast to the bottom of the ocean with a stone, and that will be much better for you to have a giant boulder strapped to your skull and to be thrown to the depths of the sea and to be eaten by the sharks and the creatures of the sea. So that's a lot better for you than what's actually going to happen to you. It is the polar negative black Sabbath of what the gospel is intended to be. This is truly anti-Christ teaching. It's anti-Christian. It is anti-Christ. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, saying that trans men, need abortions.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day.
Our trans men need abortions too. Again, the fact that he's standing up on a church dais saying these things, kind of makes you wonder, right? Like how can you get away with that without spontaneous spiritual combustion? He says that we need to abolish ICE, abolish all prisons, and that there are 6 biological sexes. Here we go.
I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6, which honestly, Representative Hefner, surprised me too.
With you now.
Surprised me too, because I am
6
not
biological
well-versed in
sexes.
This issue area. I'm not a scientist. I'm a politician. A lot worse than a scientist.
So if there are 6 biological sexes, which one are you? You got to ask these questions. I'm going to go to Texas. I'm going to ask them. Which sex are you? Which one? Where does this all come from? This all comes from self-loathing. He hates himself. He views whiteness as a disease. He said so. He views whiteness as a virus, which is crazy. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. James Talarico. White skin gives me and every American immunity from the virus. We spread it wherever we go. Through our words, actions, our systems, we don't have to be showing symptoms. White hood or a Confederate flag to be contagious. We're contagious. Our whiteness is contagious. We are a virus. White people are a virus. This kind of stuff is always rooted in self-loathing. This is what the evil one always wants us to hate ourselves, hate the way that God made us. That's where transgenderism comes from. It is an assault on God. It's an assault on whom and how the Creator stitched you together. And let's talk about consent. You didn't get any consent in that, frankly. It is God's design. As somebody who has been through the birth of my own children, God's design is outside of my control. I've been through birth and loss of my own children. It is outside of my control. There is no consent. It is a miracle. It is a gift from God. And for me to sit there and argue with it, or to hate it, or to teach my children to hate the way they were made, is the basest evil that any man can wrought upon a child. To tell them that they weren't in the right body. You don't have the right skin color. Your skin color is a virus. It's sick. From the pit of hell.